Hello, guys, and welcome to your induction with the New South Wales Police Force. My name's Harrison Crow. I'm currently the coordinator of the recruitment branch here. What I'm going to be doing with you now is I'm going to be showing you through our mobile data terminal, also known as the MDT. The MDT is a fantastic tool provided to us, which allows us to both complete field reporting and also to search up information on individuals and vehicles within the state of New South Wales. So essentially, a quick way to open your MDT is to flex your K muscle. Alternatively, you can do /MDT. Now, you'll be welcomed by this dashboard page here. Now, just a quick little tool, you can always hover over this little bar at the top, which will make your MDT transparent, allowing you to see what's going on around you. This will be very useful out in the field. Now, essentially on this front page here, the dispatch tab we don't really use, but it does show you active or recently active emergency service workers, so police and ambulance. You've got your dispatch here, which again we don't really use, but this allows us to communicate with each other. We obviously use the radio primarily for that. The bulletin board, please ignore everything on here. You also have your warrants, which are the most recently created warrants, just being shown to you here. You can right click on them and view the incident if need be. And you also have incoming calls. And to set your waypoint to one of these calls, you just right click and press set waypoint. Essentially, that's the front page of the MDT. We're going to move on to the Profiles tab now. So essentially in the Profiles tab, this is where we can search up information on a person registered in our database. Now, when searching, you can search by first and or last name. You can search by fingerprint ID, or you can search by citizen ID. Now, a citizen ID is an identifier given to every single person in the city, which is unique, and no one else will have the same one. Fingerprint IDs are not automatically inputted into a person's profile, however can be taken by police and then put into somebody's profile, which will allow us to identify them in future scenarios when we don't have any other way of doing so. So essentially, just to start off with, I'm just going to search my surname, which is Crew, and this will bring up some profiles here with people with Crew in their name. I can then click on myself here. Now, every single person, unless they have a glitched profile, will have three. They'll have a business, a driver, and a weapons license. Now, essentially, my profile's a bit glitched, so my weapon one isn't there, but for demonstration purposes, red means they don't have it, green means they do. To revoke and add a license, you just right-click on the one you want to change, and then click the appropriate action, then press save, and you'll notice that that person now has that type of license, which they can then go purchase the physical card at the job centre. Revoking it is exactly the same. Alrighty, you can also see this is where the fingerprint is inputted here. This person does not have one. You can also see the profile image URL, which is just right-clicking on the image in Discord and pressing copy link and then pasting it in here. It must end with .png or .jpeg or something like that. Otherwise, it will not work. You can see the vehicles owned by the individual. You can see any tags inputted. Now, to save a tag, you must press plus, type in the tag, and then press enter. Enter is the only way it will save, and then you'll see you've got the option to add another one. To remove a tag is exactly the same, but always remember to press save. You can see their current job, you can see their date of birth, and you can see their citizen ID as well. You can also see any photos that might have been added by other police, or you can see their known convictions. Now, we're going to move on to the Incidents tab, but before I do that, I am going to copy my citizen ID, as this is the most effective way to add an offender to an incident. So I'm going to copy that, go to the Incidents tab. Now, Incidents, this is where we write warrants, reports, traffic stop violations. We're going to write warrants, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing you want to do here is you can see all of your incidents on the left-hand side. You can see that there's a title, you can see the officer that created it, when they created it, and you can see the incident ID as well. Now, I'll show you how that incident ID is useful in just a moment. Now, essentially, you can see, that's a terrible example. Let's look at one of my reports, because that will be exemplary. So we can see Sam Partridge's here. So it's just a report. This is one of my personal templates, but the default one works just as well. You'd fill out all the appropriate information and write a brief report on the scenario. Same sort of thing goes for defects and stuff like that as well. Alrighty, now to create a new incident, you want to press the plus button just up here, and you'll see you're welcomed with a blank template, a blank title, and This is what you're going to see every time. Now, essentially, to start off with, you want to click the plus button here and paste in their citizen ID. Now, 90% of the time that will work. However, sometimes it doesn't, and this is a really important thing you need to remember. If searching their citizen ID does not work, you can search their first or last name, not both. So essentially in this case, what I would do is I would go Harrison Crew. Okay, if nothing came up when I searched the citizen ID, I would obviously pick Crew because it's a less popular name and therefore less results are going to pop up, making it easier for me to find the person. I'm then going to make sure the citizen ID there matches the one on their profile, and then I'm going to select them. This is what it's going to look like now. So essentially, you're going to have 4 boxes here that you can tick. Now, if you were to tick the warrant box and save it, if an officer's automatic number plate reader detected or scanned the plate of one of my vehicles, it would alert that officer that I currently have a warrant out for my arrest. That's why it is both vitally important that you do tick the warrant box when you are issuing a warrant, and also when you arrest someone that does have a warrant and you send them off to jail, you also untick the warrant box and select the processed box. The processed box will also be used for individuals who have just got a fine, individuals have just got arrested, anything like that. Removing that warrant box will allow that person to not be brought to the attention of police by when they drive past their car. Essentially, the next thing you want to do is add their charges. So you right click on this blank space here and you press add charge. You're then going to be welcomed with a bunch of summary and indictable and strictly indictable offences. And you can see that they are all classed at the top there. You can also see the recommended sentence and fine that comes with them. So essentially you would just select a few charges here and then click escape, and you are going to see that you have a recommended fine of $130,000 and 130 months. Now, it's really important to remember that as an officer under the rank of sergeant, you can only fine someone up to around $750,000, and you can only sentence someone to 100 months in prison. If you wish to have those months increased, you can request a Sergeant Plus to increase the fine to up to 150 months. Anything in excess of 150 months will require going through Gov. Now, the city physically will not let you sentence somebody over 100 months if you're not the appropriate rank, and they will not let you sentence somebody to over 150 months no matter what, and they will not let you sentence someone to over 100 community service no matter what. Alrighty, so this box down here is where we input the fine that they're actually being given and the sentence they've actually been given. And then obviously I'm not going to do it, but you would click save. It's really important you click save. If I go out of the MDT and go back into it, yes, it will still be there. However, if I click onto another incident and click back onto, and then want to go back to mine, it won't have saved anything I've done. Alrighty. As soon as you click save, it is going to show up at the top of the list here. You then just want to fill out all the appropriate fields, get rid of the square brackets for the love of God, and so on and so forth. Any questions, you'll get the opportunity to ask afterwards. And then the next thing you want to do is obviously issue the offender with the fine. So I have a very strict way of you guys doing that, and that is as follows. So you will take the incident ID from the left-hand side here. Obviously, this report isn't this report, but we're just doing this for demonstration purposes. The report ID is 6517, and the fine is $30,000. So I would go F7, create invoice, New South Wales Police Force fine. It's really important your grammar and punctuation looks neat, as the offender is going to see this and it will reflect on the reputation of the police force. Hashtag 6517. That way, if any officer needs to locate whether they have been fined for that incident or vice versa, locate what incident that fine was for, they are able to just search up that incident ID and it makes it a whole lot easier. Then obviously type in your fine amount and then the appropriate note. So arrest or defect or traffic stop or warrant or whatever. And then you would just press send invoice. That looks clean, it looks professional, and tells us what we need to know. Alrighty. I'm very sorry about the dog in the background. Alrighty, the next thing I'm going to move on to is reports and KLOFs. Now, we don't really use these tabs, first of all, because KLOFs, we're unable to necessarily find someone that has a KLOF if we're not actually searching up KLOFs. Does that make sense? You know, we would have to physically search everyone's name in that tab if we wanted to find out if they had a call-off or not, which is a lot of effort. That's why it's a lot easier to do a warrant. However, sometimes you need to do a call-off if you didn't actually get to identify the person. Alrighty, and reports, CID mainly use this. You don't really need to worry about that. And the last and final thing in the MDT is very easy one. So you got your roads and maritimes tab. This is where you can search up vehicles that are registered in the state. So essentially, you just want to pop in their license plate. So let's just type that. And you can see that it gives you the registration plate, the owner of the vehicle, the class of the vehicle, the make and model of the vehicle, and you can also input an image URL and press save if you like. You can also put notes on the vehicle. Obviously, vehicle notes and person notes, they would be used appropriately. Look, that's about all for the MDT. You're now going to get the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have in relation to the use of it. No questions are silly questions, so shoot for it, guys. Thanks very much for coming to the training. Thanks so much for watching the video, and hope you guys learned a lot today.